I'm going to show you some of the other features of it, and I'm going to go ahead and oops. I'm going to go ahead and name those variables for the hell of it. Damn it. Okay, go ahead and draw a sketch of some sort on this. Oh. Okay, fuck it, that'll be fine. Okay, so anyway, if we use the draft command, direction of pull, let's say we want it up there, I don't know, so the part's going to be pulled off a mold. I don't know, it seems like it would be that way. Set it at 8 degrees, even though I could set this to a global variable, as you can see, but I'm going to set it to 8 degrees. Okay, and it's set the parting line, or I could say neutral plane, but I'm going to set the parting line, and of course this shit don't work. Anyway, fuck it. Okay, yeah, that's because I'm doing it wrong. I gotta go and, I forgot I gotta go project this thing using the split line command. Okay. Notice the spaces to split, so I'll choose all the faces. And don't want to choose single direction. Okay, and that gives us a parting line clear around it, so it just projects it out. So at least that works pretty cool. Okay, now we can do a draft on it. Where the fuck is the draft coming on there? Okay, so a parting line. Oh, direction to pull. Well, I guess we'll choose that. Like I said again, it seems like the bottom one should be the one that we choose. Okay. Now, instead of 1 degree, let's go 5 degree. I guess it doesn't give you a preview, but but like I said, you can kind of see what it did. Again, a little bit of a curve introduced here and there because of that parting line. Now, we can go edit that to exaggerate it to 10 degrees. And then you can see it a little more clearly, you know, the kind of shape that was introduced by that. And of course, you know, you can go draft the bottom as well, but it'd have to be in a separate operation. So, you know, our pull plane is this way, and now the parting line is going to be the same. And like I said, there's really, you know, I don't know if you can select the loop or not. No, yeah, see that it's going in the wrong direction. So, you know, I'm going to select one at a time. Okay, same 10 degrees, why not? So, created that, you know, so it gives you that kind of a case. You know, it just occurred to me, you know, like I said, you know, like, yeah, if you wanted to use this sketch, okay, to split it, you know, I really need to copy because it's already absorbed into the split line feature. You know, and of course I can edit the sketch plane, but, you know, really can't do much with it under these circumstances, you know, because it's a primary plane. But, you know, the best way to actually copy a sketch from at least one parallel plane to another, you know, is to actually, like, select it, you know, use your, let's see, control drag, and since it really doesn't matter where it's at, you know, I don't know if I should set it right on top of the front plane or not, but I'll set it at 4 millimeters anyway. You know, the best way to do it is to actually, you know, show the sketch, you know, that you're trying to copy, but, you know, again, do a sketch on the new plane and just do a convert entities. So that, you know, creates an exact copy of it, exactly positioned, you know, to our base sketch, and then, you know, we've got a new sketch entity so that we can go in and, you know, use something like the split command on it. Oh, hold on, let me hide this sketch here first. Alright, so anyway, now we can go, you know, use a command like the split command and, you know, select that as a trim tool and have it cut the part. So, okay. Oh, specify bodies. Yeah. Geez. Worked or not. Yeah, it looks like it did. Solid bodies. Alright, so anyway, of course I could have gone and turned that into a plane and split that with that also, but just wanted to show you can do it with a line too. And what's interesting about the split command is it didn't absorb the sketch. So, you know, so that means, you know, you could use this sketch for other operations. Now, of course, you know, you might have been thinking, well, I wonder if I could use a split line. But the fact of the matter is, it's really got to be a sketch, plane, or surface. So, you know, you can't really select it. So, now, when it comes to filleting, you know, one of the best times to fillet your part is before you know, do any kind of shell command or anything like that. You know, because it'll pretty much maintain your fillets, I believe. So, for example, you know, we can go and, you know, like fillet. We don't want to fillet all those edges, at least all those corners, and then all the edges around there. Okay, but for fillet radius, we need to say equals global variable are, let's see, boss diameter, draft, rib thickness, minimum radius, internal radius, external radius. I think it's our external radius we need. Check mark. So it's it doesn't look like a diameter. Yeah, so it's still capped at 10 millimeter. But anyway, yeah, 4.5 millimeter. That's right. But anyway, it's supposed to be a function of wall thickness, but you know, and I guess it will be. So now let me go try to do the same thing up here. Like that. And that. Okay, and you know, it's defaulting to the same thing, but really it needs to be set to global variable, so if we ever change the global variable, it'll automatically change this parameter too. Because that's the point to the global variables, is that you can go edit it later, you know, like if I wanted to change any of these parameters, and it'll change it globally, you know, universally, parametrically. So, alright, now let me go suppress this move copy, and we can see if this mated properly. And looks like it did pretty good. So let's unsuppress it and shell it out, see what that looks like. Okay, this will be the faces to remove, but we need to set the wall thickness. Okay, so you know, it should adjust the radius to our wall thickness setting. That's the theory behind it, you know. So we don't need to worry about calculating an inner radius per se, because it still should be a function of our outer radius. It'll go ahead and calculate that formula, because that's a natural formula. So, you know, if we go in and you know, see how this radius came out, you know, it looks natural, it looks like it's, you know, keeping the thickness of the part uniform. So, but then we can go shell out the top. And make the same setting, you know, we're going to make sure it's set to our global variable, even though it's, you know, keeps the last entry by default, but still it doesn't make it a global variable. So basically, you know, that's all about our part here. Now when it comes to fillets, on plastic parts, normally fillets are one of the last things you're supposed to apply on a part that you're working on, like for a machine part or whatever. But when it comes to plastics, it's actually critical you apply them early, because you got to put bosses and ribs and shit like that in it, and it's really not. The more complex your geometry gets, the harder it is to apply fillets to it. Because of those relationships that have to be maintained for your DFM rules. So now, of course, I wanted to make note, that a good way of thinking when you're doing this CAD is to know what your options are at any point. So if you wanted, instead of using the shell command to make this, we could have somehow done, like an extruded cut, to do something similar. But, that, of course, would have been a pain in the ass, especially on this. But it is an option. As was, using the extrude originally, and keeping that, but then we wouldn't have been able to get this fancy parting line. So, and I'm going to show you something real quick. I'm going to draw a shape on this, and I'm just going to do it on the inside to show you that, and I'm going to make it kind of arbitrary here. Okay. Use my split line command with this, and again, projection. I don't know what the difference between silhouette and projection is. Oops. Might have just fucked up. I don't know. Let me see how. No, I fucked it up. God damn it. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, maybe it doesn't work. I mean, I didn't think you had to have that extend to the end, but maybe you do. And I'll tell you, these fuckers could learn a thing or two from Autodesk, because, like, I don't know what the fuck these things do, And Autodesk, at least have their little fucking animated help screens, and that really helps. Fuck, I think even Solid Edge did better on things like that. Anyway, yeah, your sketch does have to extend through the end. It looked like on one of those videos that their sketch actually didn't do that, and I thought that was kind of cool that it could project, despite that not being quite long enough. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and, make sure this goes through the surface. Okay, and then we'll go back and do a split face on it. It should work. Okay. Okay, now it works just fine like the last one did. Okay, and like I said, I wanted to show you something, like our pull direction up there, and then parting lines. Unfortunately, this gets really involved, because you can't just select the loop. Because like I said, it always does that. So, so these little arrows here, are indicating our draft direction. So that's the direction that, we're going to be drafting. So, and I don't know that you can change those. So I think they're just a reminder is what they are. I mean, because you can, change the direction of the whole thing, as you can see there. I don't know. Of course, those are pointing the opposite direction now, aren't they? Yep, see, it drafted it downward instead of upward. you can see what it did though when it drafted. But let me try to edit it again and see. Because like I said, our pull direction, was originally specified as up, so now it's specified down. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's drafting it out, but it's like you can't get a combination of the two like we originally started with. I mean, this program just has a lot of little quirks to it. I just don't get it. Anyway, see if I go, reselect the line, then it corrects it. So I got to go through here and reselect all these just to change the direction back again proper. That's just crazy. And there's no convenient way to select all okay, so now it deselected that face, meaning that it can't handle it. Fuck it. Now I guess it is still selected, so drafted at different angles on both sides. So that's pretty fucked up. Alright, anyway, I went ahead and reselected them, all. Kind of wish you could group these fucking things, but you can see what it did, with this particular setting. I don't know what this this means. Maybe you can see in the video if it's doing anything different. I can't because I'm too distracted by the operation. Now it's on. Now it's off, as you can see. Now for the face propagation, you usually set it to none in this case because there's no like curves or anything, so it doesn't seem to make any difference. So okay, with a step draft is something a little different. Tapered steps. Okay, you can kind of see what it did here. It drafted that outward. Here, you can kind of see, okay, the edge on view, let's see. Okay, well, see the draft angle, there's an overhang here now, because it actually drafted all edges, as opposed to the perpendicular steps, which are just edge on. So, the thing is, and what's interesting is, his worked differently. It's pretty much the same arrangement. So, his wasn't drafting this as an overhang, but an inset. So, you could see what was going on better. It's almost like this program was thrown together by a bunch of people just fucking around or something, because I mean, it really is unbelievable that, again, he got different results on that step draft than I'm getting. It was not drafting, this was inset, you know, instead of outset, but I can't seem to change the, change that to where it's going on the inside instead. So who knows why that is? What's this mean? Oh, detailed preview. Yeah, that'd be nice. Okay. Okay, so I guess you can get a preview on it. Again, this works totally differently than every other command. Totally inconsistent. Okay, I guess I'll have to, see, the only thing I can do is exit, exit out. I can't change it. Once I hit that detailed preview, there's nothing I can do. Oh, I guess I could just hit it again. Okay, good. Again, this works totally different. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't quite as inconsistent or, as much of a bouillabaisse as 3D Studio. 3D Studio is like the, got a bunch of junior programmers in there and say, yeah, just do anything any way you like. That's kind of what it feels like here. Have like 50 different people doing it, 50 different, slightly different ways with loose guidelines, on how this program's supposed to work. So, kind of nutty, really. But again, this isn't quite as bad as 3D Studio, but, still could be better, way better. Anyway, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go suppress this and try again and see what happens, if I can. That sketch was probably absorbed, wasn't it? Yeah, it probably was. Well, then, no, it wasn't. Luckily, since the split line, is where the feature kind of came from, that won't be a problem. Alright, so I went and did a new feature, and, oh, he said, too, the draft expert, is not recommended because it's just not as versatile as doing it manually. So, again, I don't know, I haven't looked at it yet. But anyway, it's a totally new feature. I totally reselected the faces, etc. Let's see what happens. Nope, we're still getting the same results. Now, why the hell did he get a different result than I? I don't get it. His was drafting inward, but I can't seem to control that now, can I? Okay, okay, I see what he did differently. He actually selected this down here. He actually selected this down here, and its pull direction is upward. Okay, and then he went and selected, again, I was trying to do this the best I could out of memory from watching it yesterday. God damn it. From watching it yesterday. So why did it do that? Let me just start again. Fuck it. Why does that face get unselected? Because I accidentally clicked on it. It's kind of crazy. Okay, oh, well, it's set to neutral plane right now. It won't do anything. That's probably why. Okay, so the step draft, again, I'm going to choose the bottom one here and change the direction. Okay, and then faces, or parting lines. Because again, these selected faces I don't think matter. Okay, but the direction of these arrows by default is going this way because the parting line is, the direction of pull is upward. So, so basically, but you can choose other face. But, but it doesn't do anything here because because our direction of pull kind of sets it. So, but I don't know what it was doing before. But at any rate, let me go ahead and click enter. So now, oh, that's interesting. So I guess that other face does have an effect, just not completely like you'd expect. Okay, because see, this one arrow here is going in the reverse direction. Okay, now it's pointed in the right direction. Maybe you can do it on an edge by edge basis, I don't know. See if these are pointed in the same direction. Yeah, they are. Okay, well anyway, fuck it. But, you know, the point is that, you know, that works, but, you know, you can see, you know, edge on, that this has an angle. It's not completely parallel with our viewport. So, but if I go perpendicular, you know, now it is. So, you know, in other words, it applied a bit of a draft to these than the other setting, but here it's not. So, but at any rate, now of course, you know, we didn't have to draft all faces too. We could have just drafted one face, which is what he kind of did in the video. He just drafted, you know, did this operation on this one side, you know, instead of doing it all around. So just wanted to make that clear.